Hey everybody, welcome, welcome. Hope you guys are doing awesome. It's Matt here, and we're ready to rock and roll for MODUS8 Founders Club coaching. You guys are in an awesome group. I'm so stoked to have you here. This is going to be so much fun, and you guys are literally in on some very cutting edge stuff that the rest of the world will get to see later on. So give yourself a pat on the back for being here. I want you guys to give me a little shout out in the chat if you can hear me well. I can see your name, so if you would just say where you're tuning in from tonight, that would be awesome. Give me your city, your state, some of you country, and let's see where you guys are all at. I'm coming to you guys from Minnesota right now. Teddy's coming to us from Charlotte. Carol, South Jersey. Deborah's in Boston. Dan Hale, my state next door, Wisconsin. Allison, Baltimore. All right. Dale, how do you say that? Lake Elsinore? Is that how you say it? Lake Elsinore, California? That's cool. I've not heard of Lake Elsinore. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Dean, St. Paul, not far from me. Kyle, what's going on? West Yellowstone. You are in a really pretty, you're vacationing. That's awesome. Pretty part of the country. Kyle, Denver. Let's see. Will is in Louisville. Brett, what's up, Brett? Brett's in PA. John is coming to us from Athens, Georgia, in my car connected to the jetpack. Glad you didn't miss this, man. Brian, Cleveland. Wow, Cleveland. That's fantastic. Well, great. Happy to have you guys here. Kendrick, Tucson. I know we've got more jumping on any moment, but let's get rolling here. I want to share with you guys what the plan is going to be for Founders Club coaching. So this is going to be really cool. I'm going to get to know you guys all a lot more. Some of you have already been to my events, or you've coached with me in person and whatnot. And so, this is like old hat for you. But for those of you that are like brand new, and this may be the first thing that you've ever listened to with me on, I just want to let you know what this is all going to be like. So the way I like to do things is I like to present a topic, some really helpful information, and then, of course, take questions. So the way this series is going to work is it's going to be 6 weeks long. And tonight, being the very first night, I'm going to give everybody an overview, a bit of a basic walkthrough of MODUS8 and all the different, I should say the main components of what you really need to get started. MODUS8 can do some very, very advanced things. We're not going to cover those tonight, okay? And the reason why is everybody here is at different levels. I don't want to overwhelm you out of the gate with what's possible. I would much rather you get in and actually get your first project going and understand how to put a formula in a project, do your very first outsourcing if you're going to use outsourcing, and just get the hang of the very essential functions that you need. Once you have that down, now you can get fancier, okay? And in time, I will show you formulas that have lots of really interesting steps with multiple people all working at the same time in the same project, creating some awesome results, okay? But let's walk before we can run, okay? So my vision is tonight we will just do an overview. Feel free to put questions in the chat box as we're going along. We may not get to all of those questions tonight. We want to keep this to like an hour or maybe a little bit less than an hour, because if we go much longer than that, your brain won't retain it, okay? So I'd rather keep it shorter, and that way you guys will actually absorb and get what we're discovering here. And then next week, we'll come back and we'll make it purely questions and examples. So tonight, let's just kind of get you in, and then next week it will be like if you have in-depth questions or you've got a project and you've got a question on it, like we'll do a full screen share again next week, but it'll be all questions and just me holding you guys by the hand and making sure that you get it all, okay? Does that sound good to you guys? Give me a little yes or a little like yeah or something. letting me know that it is good for you. Does that format sound good? Yeah, I've done a lot of training before, and I can tell you that this kind of format will work awesome. The more examples I can give you guys, the more hands-on I can give you guys, and getting to the questions next week, more in depth, will help you to really absorb and retain this, okay? Because ultimately, we got to get you guys using this. We need to get it to where you're just checking in and you're seeing what's happening and people are getting the work done. And whether it's your team or whether it's virtual assistants or vendors, things are happening and you're not having to be there every single moment. That is the key. That's why you guys joined this, right? You didn't just join it to look at a screen and say, wow, that looks really cool. That's a really sexy looking piece of software. No, you want to actually apply this. So we're here to help you apply it, okay? So my vision, not just for this whole coaching, but for MODUS8 as a whole, is for us to really form a strong community where we're helping each other to scale and formalize our businesses together. And there's some very exciting things coming that that you guys will automatically get access to because you're already in and you're gonna love it. I'm just gonna give you a little teaser, and that is there is an exponential amount of formulas that are being created right now. And they're not just being created by me or by my team, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. But there's a lot of formulas that are built or are being built that you can't even see yet because they're in other people's accounts. And very soon, those are going to be unleashed, okay? And what that's going to mean is you guys will be able to receive these shared formulas. You'll be able to have them outsourced if you want, or if you want to do them yourself or on your team, you can do it that way as well. But there's going to be just an exponential amount of formulas, and it's going to make everything you're doing so much easier. I mean, imagine if there were formulas for bots. Imagine if there were formulas for social media. Imagine if there were formulas for paid ads. I mean, there's just so much that's coming beyond just SEO. I mean, there's some really kick butt SEO stuff coming too. But MODUS8 really, you'll see this, it will expand past just SEO into business being done online, just in all forms, okay? So, and there'll be some exciting ways for you guys to grow and profit from you being an early member, okay? You will be rewarded in a lot of ways by adopting this early, okay? So with that being said, feel free to ask questions as we're going along. Whatever we don't get to here tonight, let's just save those for next week when we go really in depth on Q&A. But right now, I want to just give you guys a quick little tour of the software. How many of you have already watched, or some of you have already been in MODUS8 and have already been outsourcing and really have jumped in, which is awesome. But how many of you have been through like just the small short walkthrough videos that we have? And if you have not seen those yet, then these are always a really good refresher for just basic things or even to help instruct your team here on support.iautomate.com. How many of you guys have seen any of these intro videos? And if you haven't, it's okay because tonight will more than answer anything that you would have on that, okay? So let me just check. See what you guys said here. A lot of you guys have been watching Conveyor Belt SEO, so you've seen some of that. Okay, you watched videos. Okay, super. Yes, yes. Okay, great. If you haven't, it's not a big deal because this will be a good walkthrough. But the real essential parts that you need to understand and need to be using are formulas, projects. Some of you may be using users, but if you don't have partners or virtual assistants, that will not matter. You won't need to use that at all. We'll talk about skills and clients later, but then credits. Credits will come into major play if you're outsourcing, okay? Let's talk about formulas first. Formulas to me are the summation of everything that MODUS8 is about. Formulas are your key to business freedom, okay? Formulas are things that once you have a formula for something and somebody is assigned or capable of doing that is not you, you've just now freed up some of your time, and all we have is time. So if you can free up little pieces and then big pieces of your time by having a formula for it and having someone that is capable and able and willing to do that for you, you've now just bought back some of your time that you can use for whatever else you want to in your life. So I'm so stoked about formulas because once I started building them, and I will tell you this, you do not have to build formulas in order to benefit from this, okay? In fact, most of you probably will not build formulas. Most of you will probably just use other people's formulas, and that's completely fine. It's completely great. But formulas, whether you build them or somebody else builds them, will buy back your time, and that is what's unique about what we have here, and it's what I'm so excited about because I've looked at like the last couple years and how much my agency has grown, how much more money I've been able to make, and how much more vacation time I've been able to have, how much more time I've been able to spend with my kids and my wife. And I'm like, what was the common denominator here for all this? And what it was getting these things defined. Not everything in my business is formalized. We're always formalizing more. But even just having some things formalized where somebody else can do it really will create a lot of space, a lot of clarity, and just a more relaxed feeling about your business that things are happening and it's just working. Like I will regularly take off a day or like, an afternoon or late morning and afternoon and just go do something cool with my kids, my wife. And when I get back, I check in, I look at my dashboard, and there's all these tasks that have already been completed while I was gone. So it's cool because then if I need to check back in with the client, it's like, yeah, this got done for you. And I wasn't the one that was doing that. It happened while I was away. So that's my vision for all of you is whatever stage that you're at in this journey, whether you're just getting started and you're going to just like, you don't have any team members, it's just you and you want to just outsource, that's going to be huge for you. And those of you that have a team and maybe you're really like tied up in managing this team and training this team, and you feel like even though you have a team, like this team is so dependent on you for a lot of things, this will help because it'll either help make your team self-sufficient or you'll be able to supplement with outsourcers so then you can get some things off of your team's plate and they can do that work that now your team doesn't have to. So whichever way you're going to use this, it's going to give you back that time, which is all we have. So formulas really are everything. We will dig deeper as we go along into formulas and all the little components of them. But for right now, you don't need to know all that. I'd rather you just first be able to run a formula and see the ease of that. And then later we can get more advanced into actually building and creating your own and trading and all that stuff. Okay, so formulas, that's really the key. When you log in, if you click formulas, you will see your list of all of your formulas that you have here. There is ability to filter by name, and you can always just do a search here in order to find whatever formula that you need. Okay, very soon there will be a catalog where you'll be able to search all the public formulas across MODUS8 accounts. So that's one of the exciting things that's coming is everybody that's been creating formulas that wants to share them or trade them will be able to make their formulas public, not for anybody to see outside of MODUS8, but if they want to say, hey, you know what, I've got this formula for something, here you go, check it out. There'll be a way for you to actually search all of those formulas and add formulas that you don't have. Okay, so that will be a very collaborative way for you to start formalizing everything in your business. So just imagine even 50 or 100 people all sharing, all creating. It's going to be pretty awesome. So formulas, they're the core of what we do. All right, next, projects. Projects are, the easiest way to think of a project is it's just the actual doing of work. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to get it done. So inside of a project is where you add formulas. Now you can always just put one-time tasks in there as well, but the way this really is meant to work is for you to take a formula or formulas and drop them into a project, and then those can run. It never changes the formula, right? The formula is like your stored recipe. That just is stored there for whenever you need it. And then anytime you actually want to use this recipe, right, go in the kitchen and actually make something, then you just drop the formula into the project and voila, now you can get a result. So we'll talk more later about like how many formulas do I run in a project, or do I make different projects for different formulas? All those sorts of things we will cover. But just realize projects is where the actual work will be getting done in your account by either like your team or by outsourcers. Okay. Like I said, we'll come back to users and skills and clients later. But the last big piece here that is really important is the marketplace component. Give me like a show of hands, if you will, virtually here. How many of you are really excited about the marketplace? All right. How many of you, I know a lot of you said like that is why you're here, is because you said, hey, I don't want to train people, and I may have a person or two on my team, or I don't have anybody on my team, but I sure as heck don't want to be trying to teach everybody all this stuff. So what I really want is the ability to outsource, right? So who says yes, they want that outsourcing? Because we will actually go through that here tonight. Okay. All right, awesome. I'm going to share another exciting thing with you guys in a second. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, this is like everybody that's saying yes. Putting my hands up in the air, like I just don't care, jumping up and down. Some of you are using some very strong language, very positively strong language, but very excited. That's fantastic. Like Will said too, this is a great bridge as well. Before I may ever have like a full-time VA. Yeah, that's the cool thing about this, is if there's some things that you need somebody full-time for, then this can be your bridge to that or your supplement to that. Some of you have a lot of team members already, and you're loving the fact that this can be a way for you to fill in the gaps, right? Or hand things off to them that they may not want to do. Okay, so before we jump into an example, because what I want to do with you guys here tonight is to actually just give you a full picture, right? To where we actually come up with a project, we take a formula, we put it in, and we outsource it. So you guys see the whole progression of how that works, all right? And that's going to be the easiest way for a lot of you to start. Whether you're going to be using the marketplace like exclusively, or you're just going to supplement with it, by starting with that, you will be able to see MODUS8 from start to finish, if you will. So no matter who's doing the work, you'll see how all you have to do is load it up, and then the rest will take care of itself. Okay, so we're going to do that in one moment, but first I want to show you guys one more exciting thing that's going to be coming in the next 2 weeks, and that is this. We have, if you notice right now, when you go actually to your home screen, you will see all of your projects there, okay? And by scroll, if you have a lot of projects, as you scroll, then they'll just keep loading as you scroll. But what we've got coming is going to make it even easier for you and faster for you to be able to outsource and to be able to just like know exactly what needs to be done, all right? And that is our new to-do list view. You can see literally this is a picture of what this is going to look like. It's being coded right now. You can see it says to do, and this is what the home page when you log in will look like. You can still view everything in projects on the project boards like you can right now, but the people that have seen this list view are very, very excited, especially some of our real seasoned users are really, really stoked about this. So what will this look like for you? It'll be split up into 3 sections. The first will be task to outsource. So when you log in, all right, let's say you log in for the day, and or in the morning you log in, you're like, hey, what needs to get done? You will see right here a simple list of the tasks that are ready to be outsourced. So these are any tasks that you've said, look, I need to outsource this whenever this task comes up. This is something I'm not going to do, or my team's not going to do. We're going to outsource that. So when it comes time to outsource those, you'll just be able to click on this task name right here, or this little person button, and it will open up the window to outsource right on top of this. So all you'll have to do is literally click assign to the outsourcer or outsourcers that you want, click save, and that request will be sent off, and then this will disappear off of your to-do list because you sent the request. Okay, it's all set. So you'll see any of those tasks that need outsourcing. What's great about that is you can come in quickly, assign the outsourcers that need to be assigned, and then you're done with that. Right? Our goal for you is to not have to hunt around the application and find what you need to find. We're just going to give it to you right here on the home screen, all the actionable things that you need to just take care of, so that way it's done and you can do whatever else you want during your day. Next is task to review. So this would be any tasks that, let's say you've already outsourced them and now the work is done. Okay, so someone's like, hey, guess what? I need you to approve these blog comments, or I need you to check these citations, or I need you to review these articles that I wrote. Okay, bam. These will be sitting right here. You'll be able to click these and instantly go to the files and any comments and be able to just check that work. And as long as it's good, you'll be able to mark it completed, and ta-da, that'll be done. All right. Also, this can include any tasks that you've set up for review that maybe a team member or partner or somebody else could be working on. So if you have VAs or employees right now, you may choose to review some of their tasks, and when they mark things complete, they'll be sitting here ready for your review. And last will be actually tasks that would be assigned to you. So if there's any steps that are like a prep kind of step, which I'll show you one of those tonight, where you may have to give the outsourcer a keyword, or you may need to check on something, or whatever it might be. Like, these would be tasks that, and we want obviously this list to get shorter and shorter and shorter as you get more in depth with MODUS8 as you go along. But these would be anything that you would need to do, and there'll be a start button here where you can actually start the task and get that baby rolling. Okay, so a very actionable homepage for you. So that will be coming very, very soon. All right. So yeah, let me just check our questions. Yeah, Dan, I'll just remind me. I see that here in the chat. Just remind me. We'll tackle that a bit after we kind of go through the walkthrough. Okay. All right. Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. So let's do this. I want to walk you guys through start to finish exactly how you take a formula, put it into a project, and from there you can outsource it, and then you're done. Okay, so watch me first, and then I want you guys to actually do this so you get the hang of this. Okay, because really, if you can do this, you can run this whole thing. You don't have to even create formulas. You don't have to do anything else. If you can do this, this will get the momentum rolling for you. All right. So let's start with one of my favorite formulas. Okay. And that is finding location relevant blogs to comment on. This is one of the most popular outsourced formulas in MODUS8. It's one of my favorites. I use it all the time, pretty much every single site that I do. I love this formula. Why? It's simple. It's cheap. It's very effective. All right. So finding location relevant blogs to comment on. Why is this an easy formula? Well, look at it. There's only 2 tasks in it. It's super simple. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at what these tasks are real quick, and then we're going to put them into a project, and we'll outsource the part that needs to be outsourced. So in a lot of my formulas, what you're going to see is there is some kind of a prep step, and there's also a outsource step. Okay, so if you're going to outsource something, you typically have to let that outsourcer know whether, or even if this is somebody on your team, they have to know what it is that they're basing this work off of. Like if I say to somebody, hey, I need you to go find me these blogs to comment on, well, what are they using to go find those blog comments, right? Are they using, are they using a keyword to go find those? Are they using a tool to go find those? How are they finding those blogs, and what are those blogs about? So this first step here is very simple. This would be assigned to me, and so we'll do this in a second. It just says, in the upcoming task called finding and saving location relevant blogs, enter the main keyword to use for finding blogs to comment on. Okay, so, we just have to put our main keyword in. Makes sense? Then save and mark this task complete and start the outsourcing for that task, finding and saving location relevant blogs. So this is really just telling us to go put the keyword into this task. All right, that way we remember that we're supposed to do that. And so then in this next task, finding and saving location relevant blogs, right here is where we put the keyword for finding the comments. All right, so this would be our keyword. Okay, we would just put that in here, and then we would save this task. Okay, so we would scroll all the way down and we click save, and then it would be done. All right, then we'd outsource it. So are you guys comfortable with that? Do you guys understand why it's set up that way? Okay, I do this first, and then we're gonna outsource this one. Again, this could be somebody on your team doing this. It wouldn't have to be outsourced, but something like this, it's like $5. So outsourcing it makes really good sense. Let me just check questions, make sure you guys are sticking with me here. Mark, let me just check this one quick. Okay, I'll answer that now. That's a great question. Mark said, let's say I start a new site or an old site. How do you decide what formulas should be used and in what order they should be used in? All right, so this is something we'll cover probably a bit more like in week 3 of the coaching. But here's what I do, Mark. I take the formulas and I bundle them together into what I call tracks. And the easiest way to do this is to have little chunks that you can apply to clients in different scenarios. So for instance, let's say you have a client that is brand new, right? And it's a brand new website. There's going to be certain formulas that you can just automatically bundle and use for them that you may not use for an existing client or somebody with an existing website. So for instance, on an existing website, you may have some steps like citation audits. You may have steps, analyzing the speed of the site, analyzing, pulling link reports of everything that's been linked to that domain already. So the way I like to do this is I just like to group them together. Now, most of you have gotten the tracks that I have showed in Conveyor Belt SEO. And the tracks are like very large examples of this. Okay, there are lots of bundled formulas. I'm gonna suggest that you don't start with the tracks immediately, because each track has like potentially over 100 plus, or sometimes even I think like 120 or 150 tasks in a track. Now, they're not all going to apply because some of them are conditional, so they get skipped depending on what the outcomes are, okay? But I'm going to suggest, for just getting the hang of all this, it's far easier to start tonight and just do one formula, all right? Just do one formula and see how that goes, and then take a couple and put them together and just grow from there, all right? And in time, you'll be taking whole tracks and throwing them in. But the easiest way to start and the best way I can answer this for you is start with one, and then what we'll do is we'll bundle the formulas into different scenarios. Like I was talking with Brett, who's on the call here. I was talking with Brett the other day, and he's got some existing clients that he is using blog comments and dripped citations on, okay? So like it's a perfect thing that he can just load up, and those citations can just drip out, and those blog comments can post. And once he's set it up, he doesn't really need to do anything other than just come in here and review and make sure the work looks good and just approve it. So that's something he can just set, and it just kind of goes and goes and goes. So those are some of the kind of things that you can set up for new or existing clients, but the best thing to do is let's just start with one formula, and then as we go along, I'll show you some of those bundled chunks that we use. Because there's some times where I don't use a whole track, I'll use like miniature tracks, right? I'll use one just for like Google My Business optimization. I'll use another one just for citations. I'll use another one just for doing blog comments, okay? So it's a good question. Let's just start with one, and then we'll show you more examples of how that works as we go along. Let me show you guys this. Some of you, and you may see this as you go along, that sometimes a formula of yours may look a little bit different than mine, okay? And the reason for that is right now, when I share a formula with you, it takes basically a copy of my formula at that current moment and puts it into your account. So you basically have a copy of mine. Now, if I make adjustments on mine, it's not reflected on yours. And that is another update that's coming within the next few weeks here, is the ability for any time one of my formulas gets updated for it to reflect in your account as a updated or new version, okay? So right now, that is something that if you see a formula that looks a little bit different, most of them should be the same, but if you see something that looks a little bit different, then just let me know. And then it's as simple as me just giving you this share link here again, which I'll do that now just for all of you guys on here, that if you want to, if you're logged in and you want to just put this into your account right now, this is how we share a formula. We just go click that little pencil icon next to a formula and click share, and then we can just copy this share link. All right, so I'm gonna put this into the chat right now. So if you already have this formula, it's okay. I'll show you how to clean them up later. But for right now, you can go ahead, I put that in the chat, you can go ahead and grab that formula, and now it will look identical to what I'm showing. Okay, great. All right, let me just check our questions, and then let's keep going with this one. Okay, cool. All right, so yep, get that formula share, and that should help. Okay, great deal, awesome, awesome. So let's do this. Does it make sense to you guys how these two different things work? This is a prep step, and this is a step for actually doing the work, which in our case, we're gonna outsource it, okay? So let's do this. Let's go ahead now, and we will outsource this, okay? So anytime we want to actually run a formula, we can do that right inside of a project. So I want to show you there's two different ways to create, I should say, to add a formula to a project. The first way is right from your formula list. You can go ahead and click create project. If you do that, what's going to happen is the project name is going to be the same as your formula name, okay? And you'll just instantly have a project with that name. So that's one way to create it, okay? If you need to do something just super quick and you want to come in and just create like a one-off thing from that formula, you come in and just hit create project and make it that way. My preferred way of bringing formulas into projects is actually setting up a project by going into projects and new project. I like to set up a project for each client location that I'm working on, okay? So for instance, let's just come up with something here. Let's do, we'll call this spray insulation guys. And let's call this New Rochelle. Okay, so those of you that are doing local clients where you have multiple locations for that client, I would suggest you actually put each location in its own project. The reason why is you're going to be running a lot of the same formulas for each location, right? Say you go get blog comments done. Say you get images optimized. Say you go ahead and you get supporting pages written about that city. It's far easier to keep them organized if you have just that formula that was run one time in that project, then run 10 times, and then you're not sure like which one was run, right? So it's just a simple little organization thing, and you guys have an unlimited account. So that means you can have as many projects as you want. But I would suggest separating them by location, and it will make it a bit easier to keep track of when you're running the same formulas. So we put the project name in here, and we can click Save. Now, it's really easy. All we have to do is click this button where it says Task from Formula, right up here, and we can start typing in the formula that we want to apply. So in our case, finding location relevant blogs to comment on. We're going to hit Select. Okay, and if the buttons are kind of grayed out, it means that those things aren't to be outsourced. It would mean that there's not an outsourcer that is in the system to do that sort of thing, which means actually putting your keyword in. There's not really an outsourcer that can guess what your keyword is, so you put that in, right? Or somebody on your team puts that in. Or reviewing the outsourced work completed. You know, an outsourcer can't review an outsourcer's work. This needs to be somebody on, you know, you or somebody on your team needs to do that. Now, if you're following along with this and you may be saying, well, wait a sec, Matt, my boxes are blank. I don't have a name here. All right. That's completely normal. That's actually how it should look if you have not done this before. And what you will just do in that case is you will just click the box, and you can, for now, just select your name for strategy here and reviewing the outsourced work completed. You can also click the little X to remove the names, but all we really want to do here is just to get this outsourced. So I'm going to click this little outsource button right here, and it will tell us outsourcers will join later. Every task that's outsourced needs to have somebody to review it, so that's why that's there. I'm going to click Next and then Start. Now what's going to happen is this formula is going to plop itself right here into this project board for this spray insulation guys website. Okay, so you can see right away that the very first task has moved into our to-do column here. Location, blog comments, keyword prep. Okay, so I'm going to open this up, and it says in the upcoming task, right? Remember this? Finding and saving location relevant blogs, enter the main keyword to use for finding the blogs to comment on. Then save this and mark it complete. All right, easy enough. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put this location that I want. All right, so we said this was for New Rochelle, New York. So I'm just going to put New Rochelle, NY. All right, and let me just move my webinar controls out of the way here. I'm going to scroll down and click Save. That's all I needed to do for my task. So I can press this little Start button here saying that I've started that, and I can drag it over to completed. All right, so that's it. Now the only thing I need to do now is this. See this little person icon here? That will take me right to the outsourcing panel, so where I can assign the outsourcer. So if I click that, you can see I'm right here ready to assign it. I can click Assign and yes to confirm it, and make sure you always press Save. All right, it actually does not get sent until you press Save. So now that I hit Save, here's what's going to happen. Okay, once this outsourcer confirms this, okay, so he's going to get an email right now, and he's going to confirm that he can do this work. What will happen is this will turn green. It says like waiting for confirmation right now. Okay, so if I wanted to retract this, I could, but let's just leave this because we want him to do it. But there'll be a green check mark here that says confirmed once he confirms it. And as soon as he confirms it, what's going to happen is he'll be able to log into his MODUS8 account. He's not going to see our formulas. He's not going to see user skills, clients, credits, or anything like this. The only thing he's going to see is this task right here. He's not going to see this or anything else that we might have running in this project. He's only going to see this thing that he's responsible for. And what he will do is he will go ahead and he will start this task. Once he finishes it, it will end up in this review column here. and you will get an email saying, hey, time to review this work. All right. And once it's in review, you will see that, it'll be sitting right here, and there'll be these 3 little dots on the card, just like this is right here, 3 little dots. There'll be a little button that says review the task. And once you click review the task, it then means that you can drag it over to completed. If there's adjustments or something to be made, you can do that through comments. Okay, so within each task here, there's the ability to comment. So if you're like, hey, I got a question on this, or something doesn't make sense, you can leave a comment right here. But once it's good, and really, these should be good the first time, because anybody that's doing this specific task or any task in here, they've already done it. It's not like their first time doing it. So as long as you've just given them what they needed in order to do it, they'll be able to get the work done. It's pretty rare that they're going to have questions about something or not understand what's supposed to be done. That's the purpose of doing it this way. They follow the formula and it just works. Okay, so that's it. Like literally, it's that simple. All right, so for you guys coming in for the first time and doing this, right, making a project and picking, I would suggest just pick this formula. Okay, it's $5. It's easy to use. There's only like one step for you to do, and then outsource it. It's a great first formula to run in order to just get the hang of this. Okay, and let's talk about credits for a little bit and how that works. All right, how does this whole process work? Some of you have already been in, you've already put credits in, you're already outsourcing, but if you haven't done that yet, let me just show you kind of how that works. So what will happen is you'll see in here, whenever you go to the outsource tab on any task, it's going to show you that you have reserved credits and available credits. Reserved credits are any credits that you have already held when you assigned a task to somebody. So like when I sent this request to him, okay, for this $5 task, the system reserved $5 and put it into this reserved credits, right? Because once he accepts this, we're just going to hold that until he successfully delivers it. Once you've approved it and the result is great, then, only then will we actually release that money to him after he completed it. But the system will just hold that here until it's all completed. So you won't get paid until it's all done and good. But available credits just means what you have available that's not being used or tied up in a request right now, that you can actually use right now. So in this case here, it shows $42.70. Now, let's say this formula here was more than $42.70. I would get a message saying that, oops, I don't have enough credits to outsource this, and I'd just be able to click on a button right here that would open it up and let me add more credits, right? So same kind of look as if you go into credits right here. There's this add credits now button, okay? And what you can do is you can come in here and you can select an amount, right? And you can type in a custom amount. Some people are ordering lots of stuff at once. They maybe want to just put in a bigger amount, or a custom amount somewhere in between. If they're just buying something specific, that's fine too. And what you're able to do is you're able to either select PayPal, or you can choose a credit or debit card. And this is done through Braintree, which means that they securely encrypt and vault your payment method. So we can't see this, but what it allows you to do is very quickly come in here, and if you need to add credits, bam, you can just add them. You don't have to get your wallet out. You don't have to log into PayPal. You don't have to do that. So it's just, we're trying to save you time at every single turn. And that's an easy way to do it. So I am matching all of your, basically anytime you guys, for your first deposit, if you will, of credits, I'm giving you $25 of my own money for free, okay? So it's like a match. So, whether you put in, $10, $25, $100, whatever it is, I'm gonna give you $25 of my money. That's a manual process right now. So the easiest way to do that is once you've put the credits in, just shoot me a little message and say, hey, Matt, where's my free money? And I'll come in and actually transfer $25 into your account, okay, that you can spend on anything in here. So I would encourage all of you, I would do it tonight so that you can do it right now. It looks like some of you have already started, which is cool. But go in here, if you don't already have credits, just put some money in and I'll match it for you up to 25 bucks. And then what I want you to do is just go ahead and outsource one thing. Okay, go to that find blog comments formula that I shared with you. It's $5. Just go ahead and outsource it so you get the hang of it. Right, that will be the key. Dale, hey Matt, where's my free money? Did you just put some in? Maybe you already did. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it really is easy. I'm telling you, like, people are just, this is the one thing everybody's so excited about, is like how fast and easy it is to just, add the credits and just hit assign and let it get done. Right. So I love that too. That's like my favorite feature. Okay, so let me check your guys' questions. If there's any questions on what I showed, then certainly bring it up. Or if you have questions on something else, now's a good time for that too. Okay, Mark, hey Mark. Mark's question, oh, this is about scheduling. Okay, he said doctors as well. For instance, do you create 2 for each office location? For instance, the practice name for one office and doctor's name for the same office, multiple different offices. I'm not doing anything in the medical space, so I'm gonna let you make the call on this. But what I would suggest, the easiest way to like look at this, Mark, is if you're going to be using the same formula more than, let's say, a couple times for the business, then I would break it out into separate projects. Okay, they can all have the same people working on them. There's no difference in terms of functionality. It's purely just an organizational feature, meaning, let's say I go ahead and I have citations done for one office, and I have citations done for another office, and then I have blog comments done for one office, I have blog comments done for another office. Now, let's say like 2 months later, I want to go back in and like see what I did when, right? Or I want to go get those reports or something. Well, now when I go back into that project, I'm not trying to sift through files that are like the same name, okay? It's just a preference. You can put them all in the same project, but I do a lot of multi-location stuff. And when I say multi-location, a lot of it's lead generation, some of it's client work, but a lot of times I will have 20, 30, 40 verified Google My Business listings for the same website. And so what happens is I'm applying the same formulas for all those locations. So if I'm coming in and I'm doing 30 rounds of blog comments, I'm doing 30 rounds of on-page optimization, I'm ending up with a lot of the same things over and over and over again. And I just, from an organizational standpoint, I'd much rather just drill into like how I made one here all about a specific location. I'd much rather just go in that location, and then I can just go to files and I can see everything that was done all for that location, rather than me going into one big project and having to sift through, 20 files all for blog comments or something like that. Okay, so if it's a couple locations, you could just keep them in the same project. If you're doing a lot of locations, I would definitely put it in multiple projects. Mark asked, if I already have a VA, how do they see their tasks that I want to assign to them? Great, glad you brought that up. So those of you that already have a virtual assistant or a partner, a team member, somebody that works with you, you're gonna wanna use this users feature. Okay, so you're gonna come in here into users. And what you're gonna do is you're going to enter in their name, their email address, and you're gonna select a role, okay? The easiest way for me to describe the roles to you is you are the owner, okay? You have full control and full permissions on everything in the account. Now, managers, they can function like a worker in the system, meaning you can just assign them tasks for them to do. And when you do, they'll see their tasks, which will show you how that looks in a little bit. But managers will not see all your projects in your account, okay? They will only see the projects that they have been specified as a project manager on, okay? So if we go into projects and I make a new project, there's a little option here called project managers. And if I select a user here for a project manager, what's going to happen is they're going to then see everything that happens on that project. Even if none of the tasks are assigned to them, they're a project manager, so they will oversee everything on that project. I can still assign things to them in the project. I can even assign things to them in other projects, but the only way they're going to see everything on that project is if they're a manager. So most of my true virtual assistants, I've been converting into, let's call that the vendor role, right? Reason why is because it's far easier, and of course I'm sharing all my people with you guys, so it makes sense that I put them in a vendor role, because people can't function. Their email is tied into the system as one role. So like if I have somebody as my VA in here, unless I have a different email for them, I can't let them be like a VA and a vendor at the same time. I need to use a different email for that, because when they log in based on their role, it's going to change their dashboard a little bit. So Mark, you asked, what does that VA see and how do they see their tasks? What's going to happen, I don't have a VA login handy here to log in, but we can always do that next week too. If you want to like we could kind of role play. I'll have one window with a VA or a vendor and then another like my account open, and we can kind of see how they differ. But basically the difference between them is like a worker in the system is only going to see the tasks that they're responsible for. So they will not see credits, clients, skills, users, formulas. All they're going to see is home and projects. And when they come in the project, it'll show them that board view. All right. So like if we go into that project here, okay, they will see this. So if they were assigned this task right here, they will see that. If they're not assigned this task, if this was for another VA or for myself or an outsourcer, then they're not going to see that. They're only going to see the ones that you assign to them. So the easiest way to assign things to them is whenever you're bringing a formula into a project, you can just select their name to assign to a specific skill, okay? Which probably next week we'll get more into skills. This is a more advanced feature where you can map specific skills to users. So that way, whenever you're like bringing the same formulas in over and over, you don't have to sit there and select each of your people's names that need to do that specific thing. The system will just remember, oh, Kathleen is responsible for SEO research. And anytime there's an SEO research task, it's just going to get assigned to her. So that is a cool feature, but it's not one that I suggest you guys try to master out of the gate, because it's powerful, but it's, I would say, a bit confusing until you've already ran some projects and tasks in here. Okay, so does that help, Mark? Just scroll through. Tan, free money. Okay. Dale says yes. Thanks for the match. Let me just check here and then. Okay, great, Mark. Teddy, let me read your question here. Teddy asks, after I create a project, I try to assign outsourcer, but nothing available. Yeah, just probably for that, if you're not seeing an outsourcer on something, why don't you send in anytime, guys, if you have a question on something, if there's like a specific formula you have a question on or something like you're not seeing, the fastest way to get support always is this little icon right down here. Okay, this little like smile face down here. Just click this, all right? Type this in. Ignore if it says back tomorrow or we're back on Monday. It's always put your question in here. Okay, what's gonna happen is it's gonna come to us, and this even comes to my phone. Okay, so whereas I don't publish my cell phone, I do have these coming directly into my phone. All right, my team gets them too, but if I see you guys message something in and you're like, hey, how do I do this specific thing? Those of you that have had questions before, you'll see like I usually get to you pretty fast. All right, and I will answer right away, right off my phone. So if there's something you need or you have a question on, unless it's in the very middle of the night and I'm sleeping, I will probably get back to you pretty rapidly, sometimes within minutes or even faster. Okay, so anytime you got a question, put it there. Right? There will be more and more training walkthroughs being published this week for virtual assistants, managers, workers, like all those different roles. We will have walkthroughs here for them. Okay, so you can see like right now there is a vendor walkthrough. Okay, where I'll give you guys a little tour of this. Okay, so like this is so vendors, like when we bring my VAs over or like proven people from other other sources of ours that we've used, like maybe they ran a service or they were on some other gig site or something like that, and we've worked with them a lot. When we're bringing them on, this is what we have them go through in order to learn how to basically, move tasks to completed and review and how to get paid and all that. Okay, so we will have similar walkthroughs like this published this week for managers, workers, virtual assistants. Okay. So that way, if you've got people on your team that you need to say, hey, you know what, I need you guys to learn this, I need you to figure this out, we will just give like the basics, if you will, right? At least to get them up and running. So that way they know what they're doing and you're not taking your time to explain it to them. Okay, awesome. Let me scroll back up. Dan had a question on link create, which is kind of outside of the scope of this here. Okay, actually, yeah, Dan, for that, do me a favor, just shoot me a message. You can either drop it into support here or you could send me a message even through Facebook. And what we'll do is I'll just check with Jared on our team who handles that. And I'm pretty positive that that can easily be accommodated. Shouldn't be a problem at all. If there's a specific file type you would rather, like I don't know if you're able to do a CSV maybe. Yeah, CSV should be just fine. If it's not working with the CSV right now, yeah, just shoot me a message and we'll make sure. Yeah, we'll make sure that gets added. Okay. Super. Some of you that have been through the conveyor belt SEO training already have asked, Matt, what about that cool program Link Create that I've seen you use? Is that something that we're going to get access to? And I did not make that part of the Founders Club launch, but I was feeling pretty jolly and pretty stoked with all of you that jumped on board and how excited you guys were. It was just a really awesome feeling. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna let you guys have that too. All right, so it's beyond the scope of tonight's call, being we're already at an hour, and if we keep going, you'll forget stuff that we just covered. So, but we can go over that during next week's Q&A. And Link Create is something that I will be giving you guys access to, because it really does dovetail nicely with MODUS8. Some of the outsourcers in MODUS8 already know Link Create really well, and so if you're having them build links, they'll actually just put them right over in your Link Create account for you. So that's really handy. So if you're getting research done or you're getting like citations dripped, they'll just go put, or even just citations in one batch, they'll just go put them over into your account for you so you don't have to do that. So it's really handy. So I figured it's something you guys really ought to have. I feel bad if you didn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys an account for that. All right. So let's wait to dive fully into that until next week. But I will have a whole slate of videos and trainings and everything around that. Obviously, if you're going through conveyor belt SEO, you'll kind of see it in action. But there's actually a number of enhancements that have been added since conveyor belt SEO to Link Create. So there's some new cool things that we're not even shown in those videos. All right. So yeah, you guys will get that too. Let me just check. Any other questions that you guys have just to start? All right. And I've got all your messages about the matching credits, so I will definitely take care of that. We'll get those loaded up for you guys, and I'll let you know individually once I did that, so you can log in and make sure that they're there. All right. But for now, the biggest thing that I want you to do before next week is just to come in, and I want you to outsource one thing, right? Just take one, like I would use this same formula. Okay. Now this formula is part of a bigger formula, which is actually not just finding the blogs, but then somebody actually goes and does the comments as well. So it's like a two-part formula, right? Somebody does the finding of the comments and somebody posts the comments. But I don't want to get you guys all doing multi-part formulas and all that stuff quite yet. Let's let you just get one under your belt, and then it'll be easy. And before you know it, you'll be like, stringing all these together. Imagine credits. You guys are hitting me up. Great. Perfect. All right, super. Any other questions that you guys have here tonight? Otherwise, I'm gonna stop there. And then what I want you to do is get in here, try out that first outsourcing. If you feel adventurous, you got somebody on your team and you want to try it with them, fantastic. Try it with somebody on your team. It works the same way, except instead of hitting outsource, you're just going to select their name. So make sure they're actually a user before you do that. Okay. And then we'll come back next week, and I want you guys to have questions ready for me in terms of like maybe specific scenarios, or if you have a question on how to apply a certain thing, or like Mark's question tonight of like, hey, how do I know what to apply? We can go through some more of those like scenarios. Okay. All right. Does that sound good? Does that sound? It does. Okay. Sweet. Absolutely, Brett. Do me a favor, just ping me on, because I don't get to see, I'm sure I can pull this somehow with GoToWebinar, but I don't get to see all of this comment thread in the chat box once I end the webinar. So just shoot me a quick reminder, okay? And I'll get that to you. Super. Okay, great. Well, I want to thank everybody. This has been an awesome first night with you guys here. I'm really looking forward to our whole series, and I will see you back here next week. It'll be the same time, so just watch for the webinar announcement. We'll put it again in the group. We'll email it out as well, so that way you guys have it. And I'll see you back here next week. I will put this recording up tomorrow, so that way if you want to go back and watch like those steps of how I did the outsourcing, if you have any questions on that, you'll just be able to go back through and follow my steps so that you can do the exact same thing. Okay? Thank you guys so much. It's such a pleasure, and I'm so stoked to have you with us. All right? Take care.